Welcome to English Passage. Today, we are going to take you on a journey into one of the most gripping and emotional real-life stories from India's fight against terrorism, the Pahalgam attack and the heroic counterstrike known as Operation Sindoor. This is not just a story of violence and response. To understand what unfolded next, we must go back to where it all began, Pahalgam, a town where serenity was shattered by sudden violence. It is a story of people, of pain, of strategy, and above all, of courage. Through this video, we will take you from the moment the first shot was fired in Pahalgam to the silent but powerful steps of the Indian forces who executed Operation Sindoor with unmatched precision. This story is more than headlines. It's a tribute to the unsung heroes, the ordinary citizens, and the warriors who faced terror head-on. And just as this script was being completed, new developments unfolded that once again showcased India's unwavering strength and strategic defense. Section 1. The Pahalgam attack amplified civilian impact. It was supposed to be a normal day. The town of Pahalgam, nestled in the breathtaking valleys of South Kashmir, was just beginning to stir. Known for its stunning pine forests, flowing Lid River, and spiritual routes of the Amarnath Yatra, Pahalgam had long stood as a symbol of harmony and beauty. But on that day, tranquility shattered. A convoy traveling through the area was ambushed. Heavily armed militants opened fire, targeting vehicles in rapid succession. Panic spread instantly. Shops slammed their shutters. Tourists ducked for cover. Civilians screamed and ran, unsure of where safety lay. Among them was 9-year-old Ayan, who had come with his family for the pilgrimage. Caught in the crossfire, he clutched his mother's hand as they hid behind a stone wall. His father, trying to shield others, was struck by a stray bullet and collapsed before help could reach him. Eyewitnesses spoke of the horror. The sound of gunfire echoed like thunder through the hills. Smoke rose from the burning wreckage of vehicles. The air was filled with the cries of the injured and the stunned silence of those too shocked to speak. Rescue teams arrived quickly, but the damage had been done. Ambulances raced away, carrying the wounded. Locals opened their homes to strangers, offering water, shelter, anything they could. What made the attack even more chilling was its timing and planning. The attackers clearly had reconnaissance. They knew the route, the movement schedule, and their targets. This wasn't random. It was organized terror, meant to strike fear, cause chaos, and steal lives. Section 2. Why Pahalgam? But why Pahalgam? Why this town on that day? The answers lie in its quiet but crucial place on India's strategic map. To understand the attack, we must understand the place. Pahalgam is not just a tourist destination. It's a sensitive zone. Located near infiltration routes from across the border, it has long been a region of strategic concern. But for years, Pahalgam remained relatively peaceful. That peace made this attack even more shocking. By choosing Pahalgam, the attackers weren't just trying to hit a target. They were trying to send a message. A message of fear. A message that no place is safe. It was psychological warfare, aiming to disrupt not just security forces, but also civilian morale. The attack raised urgent questions. Was there an intelligence failure? How did the attackers slip through? And most importantly, what would India do in response? As the smoke cleared and the nation learned of the tragedy, the response was immediate and resounding. Section 3. Immediate response and national reaction. As images of the attack flooded news channels, anger swept across the nation. Leaders from all parties condemned the violence in the strongest terms. The Home Ministry called for emergency meetings, and national security agencies elevated the threat level across all sensitive borders. At the ground level, cordons were immediately set. Roads were blocked. Sniffer dogs, forensic teams, and surveillance drones were deployed. Every shred of evidence, shell casings, footprints, intercepted radio messages was analyzed with urgency. The diplomatic impact was just as swift. In an unprecedented move, India announced the cancellation of the Indus Water Treaty talks, signaling that diplomatic ties with Pakistan had reached a new low. Simultaneously, border crossings were sealed, cutting off non-essential movement across the line of control as a firm message to hostile actors. And quietly, away from cameras and media, the Indian Army began drawing up plans for what would be known as Operation Sindoor, a mission driven not just by retaliation, but by the resolve to restore peace and pride. Yet while the nation mourned and protested, somewhere in the shadows, a plan was already in motion. A mission that would come to be known as Operation Sindoor. Section 4. Planning and Launch of Operation Sindoor. Operation Sindoor wasn't just a military reaction. It was a well-calculated strategic move. Intelligence units worked around the clock. Phone intercepts suggested the militants had retreated into a dense forested zone near Anantnag. Reconnaissance drones were deployed. Locals were discreetly interviewed. Coordinates were confirmed. Leading the operation was a highly trained team of para-commandos, local army battalions, and support from CRPF units. The goal was clear: neutralize the threat without civilian casualties. The name Sindoor was not chosen lightly. In Indian culture, Sindoor represents honor, protection, and sacrifice. By naming the operation this way, the message was clear. This was about restoring the dignity lost at Pahalgam. In the early hours before dawn, the operation began. Troops surrounded the hideout. Loudspeakers warned militants to surrender. The only answer was gunfire. What followed was an intense encounter. Bullets flew across the forest line. Trees splintered. Grenades were lobbed. But the soldiers held their ground. With coordinated movements and night vision surveillance, they cornered the attackers. By sunrise, the operation was over. The attackers were killed. Weapons recovered. And not a single Indian soldier lost. It was a message to the nation: India does not forget. And India does not forgive. Section 5. The faces behind the mission. While the names of some commandos may remain classified, stories of heroism began to surface. A 26-year-old officer who led the charge through the dense fog. A Kashmiri local who risked his life to tip off the army about strange movements. A medic who ran into gunfire to reach an injured soldier. These were not just soldiers, they were sons, daughters, brothers, and sisters who believed in something bigger than themselves. Section 6. Public Reaction and Healing. As news of the successful Operation Sindoor spread across the nation, a wave of pride and emotional solidarity swept over India. Social media erupted with gratitude and admiration for the armed forces. Candlelight vigils illuminated towns and cities, honoring both the fallen civilians and the soldiers who carried out the mission. Political leaders, journalists, and citizens alike voiced their respect, unified in their appreciation for the swift and precise response. But behind the public tribute, in the quiet homes of the victims, emotions ran deeper. There was grief, heavy and unspoken. Yet, alongside the tears was an unshakable pride. The pride of knowing their loved ones became a part of a greater purpose. Their sacrifice had meaning, and it was etched into the memory of a nation that would not forget. As these stories of bravery began to surface, they sparked a wave of national emotion, one that brought both healing and unity. Section 7. What this means for India. Operation Sindoor is not just about revenge or tactical victory. It stands as a symbol of strategic preparedness and unwavering national will. It delivers a powerful message to adversaries. India will not tolerate terror, infiltration, or cowardly attacks on its sovereignty. This mission reinforces the essential role of intelligence gathering, rapid deployment capabilities, and joint coordination among defense wings. It demonstrates that India's armed forces are not only brave, but also technologically superior, highly disciplined, and uncompromising in their duty to protect every citizen. The operation, combined with recent events such as the downing of enemy aircraft, border closures, and the suspension of Indus Water Treaty talks, highlights India's comprehensive security strategy, from boots on the ground to diplomatic retaliation. Above all, it serves as a powerful reminder. Peace is not inherited, it is protected, earned, and defended with resolve. Breaking news segment, recent incidents as of 8th May 2025. In a dramatic escalation on 8th May 2025, Indian defense systems were once again tested in real time. That morning, Pakistani F-16 and JF-17 fighter jets reportedly violated Indian airspace along the western sector. Within minutes, the aircraft were intercepted and shot down by Indian Air Force pilots, showcasing the rapid response capabilities of our aerial defense units. The intrusion was swiftly neutralized, sending a resolute signal across the border. Later that day, in Vikrant, India's pride, an indigenously built aircraft carrier, was placed on high alert in the Indian Ocean region following intelligence reports of a potential offensive. In close coordination with Indian Naval Command and intelligence agencies, real-time surveillance was activated. While no engagement occurred, the silent but strategic naval positioning successfully deterred any hostile action. But beyond the emotions and tributes, Operation Sindoor carries a deeper meaning, one that defines India's present stance and future strategy. Meanwhile, India's recently deployed S-400 air defense system once again proved its operational excellence by tracking and locking onto incoming aerial threats before they could breach critical zones. This multi-tiered shield played a key role in safeguarding sensitive regions during the day's heightened tensions. These back-to-back incidents on 8th May underscore India's full-spectrum preparedness from land and air to sea, and reaffirm our unwavering commitment to national security and territorial sovereignty. Thank you for staying with us through this powerful story. If this story moved you, if it reminded you of the price of peace and the power of unity, don't let it end here. Honor the fallen by staying informed. Stand with the brave by staying aware. And strengthen our future by sharing the truth. Why try pointing backhand index like this video? Subscribe to English Passage and share it with someone who needs to hear it, because stories like this aren't just remembered, they build the resolve of a nation. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey through English listening mastery. Let us remember the fallen. Let us honor the brave. And let us stay united in memory, in vigilance, and in strength. Until next time, keep listening, keep learning, and above all, keep standing for the stories that matter. See you in the next video. Salute to our brave soldiers for Operation Sindoor, a bold strike that proves India will never tolerate terror. Jai Hind. Vande Mataram.